There's been a lot of talk about these two MXR pedals online, saying that they're identical, and that's a load of rubbish. This pedal here is designed to work with high impedance pickups, hi-fi pickups, vintage style pickups, and this one here is designed to work with low impedance active EMG style pickups. When you plug this thing in, it sounds terrible by itself. Sounds terrible with the traditional Gibson pickups. It was purely designed because this pedal that it was based on is designed for high impedance pickups. So they had to redesign the pedal to make it designed for low impedance pickups. So when you plug this pedal in and then you plug this pedal in, they sound nothing the same, even though inside they're almost the same, but they have parts missing in one or the other, and there's one or two that have different values to the components. Yes, it has a switch inside this one to do the Zakk Wylde sound, and it has a circuit board stamped with ZW44 on it. But is it designed to do Zakk Wylde with EMG pickups, or is it designed for high impedance pickups? I think it's probably designed for high impedance pickups. So you can get a Zakk Wylde style sound with high impedance pickups. Whereas this one is solely dedicated to low impedance pickups and you're wasting your time plugging in an old Gibson or whatever into it. You've got to have EMG pickups at least, and then preferably the Zakk Wylde pickups. But there's also a trick to this pedal. It doesn't work without the Zakk Wylde wire pedal and the Zakk Wylde chorus pedal. So it won't activate its true sound until you plug in the Zakk Wylde wire pedal and the chorus pedal. And then if you've got a berserker pedal, this pedal won't work with the berserker pedal. You've got to have all the pedals that match the set. So if you've got berserker overdrive, then you've got to have a berserker chorus. If you've got the plain Zakk Wylde overdrive, then you've got to have the plain Zakk Wylde chorus and the wah. Whereas this GT overdrive pedal requires the rest of the set of general purpose MXR pedals. So you've got to have the carbon copy delay and the rest of them as well. So it will not do its great sound by itself. You've got to plug in about 4 or 5 of them MXR pedals to actually get this one to do its true sound. And when it does its true sound, it's actually slightly affecting your signal that goes straight through. But it keeps the bass notes on your strings in your chords as warm notes. And then when you click it on, it goes into a high soloing type of sound. And this adjustment of your output and your tone and your gain, they're very big adjustments. They cover a broad range of sounds. But even in the soloing, it keeps your sound, your bass notes on your six string guitar are very warm sounding. So it seems very traditional type of sound. When you plug into your full bore metal pedal, It requires 5 or 6 other MXR pedals to be plugged in as well before it'll make its true metal sound. But you have enormous adjustment with this type of pedal. You've got the amp adjustments, and then you got the gain and scoops and gates, noise gates. So you can shape your sound enormously with this type of a pedal. It allows you to explore a whole world of different sounds, different metal tones. It's really an impressive pedal. This Distortion Plus here is a 2001. So if you follow this line of pedals, you'll know that this one has actually, the bass notes are actually very warm. But compared to the GT Overdrive, the sound out of this is bass, mids and treble, whereas the sound out of that is mids and trebles. So this is MXR Distortion Plus is completely different. There's not much tone shaping ability here, but what it does is it gives you maximum tone. So if your bridge pickup is sort of all trebles, this will give you bass, mids and trebles. But this pedal, when you play the chord, it allows a big response from your system, and it will give you a big bass and big mids and big trebles. And they seem much bigger than a pedal like this. This will go into high gain fairly quickly and rapidly, whereas this one has an enormous big sound. And your straight through signal is very influenced by this pedal, and it's very aftermarket MXR style of changes your sound a lot. But it's all very great. And it seems very a classic style as well, like a vintage type of sound. Unlike something like this, you've got a huge heavy metal sound. You know, this is a bit more classic, older style sound. But something like this could benefit from a compressor pedal afterwards, because when you hit your chords, this pedal will give you a huge response, and a compressor pedal will tone down the bass and the treble out of this particular design, which will give you a more mid-range sound. But you're probably better off to go for something like the GT Overdrive, which does it naturally without an extra pedal. But it's not classic style like this. The Il Torino Overdrive is something completely different. The signal going through this is true bypass. So it's your guitar straight into your amp, which is very favourable for a lot of guys with great amplifiers. But this pedal behaves completely differently to all the other pedals. Whereas this one's like turning on a second amp in front of your amp. And when you turn the volume or the gain on your amp, you realise that the amplifier will increase gain, but it won't change the type of distortion or gain. Whereas this pedal, when you play and you adjust your guitar's volume knob, it goes from one type of distortion to another type of distortion to another type of distortion and then another type of distortion when you max out your volume knob on your guitar. So this, if you love distortions and playing through various distortions in one song or one whole record, this pedal does every type of distortion you can think of. But it's all in the MXR style. So don't think you're going to get other brands of distortion. So you got to read the branding and what it says. But this has, you can adjust the amp inside here to have even more range. So this has an enormous range of adjustment. Unlike something like this, only has a very, very limited type of adjustment, but because that maxes out all the tones, you don't need adjustments with that particular design of what it's going to do to your sound. With the El Torino, yeah, it's very, very unique. It's like no other pedal that I've experienced before. There's worlds of exploring, but you're exploring from your guitar. You're interacting with this pedal. Whereas these other pedals, you sort of set and forget them. Whereas this one, you're constantly interacting with it as you're playing. So this is a completely different way of making sound. It's got enormous adjustment. It's got an enormous range from mild to wild and everything you could possibly want to change with the sound. And then if you don't want it, you just click it off and then it's true bypass. So there you go. But this one is like a whole universe different to all the other pedals, and that's why it's custom shop. This one is amazing. The latest version of the Distortion Plus. This one's got a whole universe of sounds to explore, but you've got to have a large range of MXR pedals to get it to do its true vintage sound. And then this GT Overdrive is extremely impressive, and I can see why they named it after Grand Touring cars. And it is extremely warm and powerful and mild to wild, high gain, low gain, whatever you want there. And then the Zakk Wylde is totally purpose built to do exactly the Zakk Wylde overdrive sound. But you got to buy all the rest of the set of the Zakk Wylde products to get it to go. But that thing is totally unique and well worth every dollar you spend on it. So these are all fantastic pedals, all very great, well designed, totally work well with all the rest of the pedals from MXR.